So some folks have asked my personal theories on the disappearance of Maura Murray. As a doctor of divinity with a certification in spiritual counseling and thanatology, we constantly try to reach out to those who are no longer with us. When you say the word disappearance, that doesn't mean the death or the absence of a person, but is the unknown. Maura Murray went missing on February the 9th, 2004, over 18 years ago at the age of 21. She would actually be celebrating 40 years this year if she is alive. She was born on May the 4th, 1982. She went missing in New Hampshire. And the night of her disappearance, there has been a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of unusual events that have occurred, and no one just disappears into thin air nowadays. But you also have to realize that on February the 9th, 2004, when Maura went missing, just a few days later was the launching of Facebook. So this is kind of one of the first social media missing persons and the disappearance of an individual, but it's also the act of a person before social media. And all the information that we do have is her sending emails and even printing up from the internet a map of where she was going. So I have a couple theories of what has happened to this young lady. It has been a case that has haunted me for years. I was born in 1983, March of 83. She was born in May of 82. We are less than a year apart in age, so we're the same generation. That same music, same cars, same trendy things that was going on in 2004, because we're the same age. So it has been a very haunting mystery to me of where this young lady has gotten off to. So I have a few theories of maybe where she's at or what has happened to her. And I also want to point out a couple things that just don't seem right. And I'm just going to use plain talk in this particular interview because and I'm going to answer some of the questions that have been asked of me. Okay? To save time, I'm not going to read off those questions. I would just answer those questions. So here it goes, and we're going to try to get through this as quick as possible on the disappearance of Maura Murray. And my professional theory as a doctor of divinity with a certification in spiritual counseling. Now this doctor of divinity is basically like a curl on a pig's tail. It really don't mean nothing. It's when it comes to the spiritualism and trying to connect with people spiritually, I do not feel spiritually that Maura Murray is dead. I really feel that she is alive because I feel no connection to the other side. It's almost like she's still alive. So either she could still be alive or her soul is just at unrest. Here we go on some of the questions. Of course, the number one question, no, I do not believe she is dead. I believe she's alive. That's my theory. That's one of my theories. I do believe that she's alive. Another question is, where is she? I have no idea where she is. But my theory is she is in Canada. She made it to Canada. Now, of course, I have to give a reason of this theory. The night of the accident, a 911 call was made by a lady who lived nearby the accident. Okay? And when she looked outside, she heard the thud. And then when she looked out, she said that there was a man or a male figure in the passenger seat of her car that was smoking a cigarette. Now, she went back on that and said that it might not have been a cigarette. It could have been a glow from a cell phone, because there was no cigarette, any kind of tobacco, found around the car in the accident. So there was someone with Maura Murray. And I do believe that when we think of this disappearance of the disappearance of this young lady, that she is a 21-year-old alone. She's not alone. And that is the reason I don't believe someone has done her harm. If they have done her harm, they've also done him harm as well. Or, you know, he was the one that was helping her move on. So that's my theory of that's how I think that she is alive, because there was a male figure with her and they were leaving. They had to go. So that's one theory. Why do I think that she was trying to get away? I'm not sure why she was getting away, but my theory is you don't go from becoming a student at the United States Military Academy, you know, at one moment, and then just becoming a nursing student at the University of Mass at Amherst. So something was going on there. I also want to point out the two lies. The two lies of her calling all of her teachers or sending them a message and saying that she had a death in the family and she would be gone for 1 week. So she had a 1 week cushioning. And then the accident occurred, and that 1 week cushioning went away because an individual coming by saying that he was going to call 911. And she didn't want that to be done. She said she'd called AAA already. And at one of the reports, it said that she pleaded not to call 911, that she had already called AAA, when in fact she had not. There's another lie. So why did she not want 911 called? Why did she not want a police officer to show up? And now her 1 week cushioning has turned into moments. It only took 9 minutes for the cops to get to the accident. Now here's where another big theory comes in at. In that 9 minutes, a lot happened, because the law officer showed up and the car is locked. And there was a rag stuffed in the tailpipe of the car. So the individuals with her said, hey, let's set the car on fire. Let's blow the car up. Let's go. Let's leave. Well, they ran out of time, maybe. And they ran out of time, and they didn't set the car ablaze. And they went on down the road. Now, why? How do we know? And what is my theory on them going down the road, or on down the road? Here's the next theory. Of course, they brought in a cadaver dog. These cadaver dogs are very sensitive. They have very sensitive noses. They're highly trained. They picked up Maura's scent and followed it down the road 100 meters, and it disappeared. Now, but she was picked up. Maybe her and the gentleman that was with her was picked up, and that's how they were getting gone. And in that 9 minutes, they were already down the road. In 9 minutes, they could have been anywhere. So that's my theory. I've heard a lot of theories that someone picked her up, that she was alone and someone picked her up and done her harm. But I just keep falling back on this lady who called 911, and as she looked out the window, she saw another person in the car with either a cigarette or a cell phone. There was another person with her. Another interesting thing about this case is quite a few yards, a good long distance from the accident, an eyewitness said that they saw a woman on the side of the road, that their hair was down, and they had a dark jacket on and jeans. The where I punch a hole in this particular sighting is all the pictures that we have of Maura is her hair is up. And which it could have been down, you know, she could have put her hair down, but my wife wears her hair in this style all the time. There's bobby pins everywhere. There's hair clips everywhere. And if you're in the car, and if my wife was to put her hair down in the car, there'd be bobby pins everywhere. They did not find a bobby pin or a hair clip anywhere around that car. So that's the reason I think this sighting is faulty, and that wasn't her. Here's another reason. It said she was wearing a dark jacket. The last known photo that we have is from an ATM, and she is wearing a light-colored jacket. A jacket actually her family is unfamiliar with. So, a lot of holes here in this case, but that's my theory. So, where the rubber meets the road, in my professional theory, not professional opinion, because my opinion don't mean nothing, but I have a theory, and that theory is that she was with someone, because there's about a 3-hour gap. She checks her voicemail on her phone, and then the accident occurs like 3 hours later. So what happened in those, I guess, 3 hours? Because she called to check her voicemail at 4:37 p.m. That's all we know. Is she called and checked her voicemail at 4:37 p.m. and then the accident happened at 7:27. So, like, in that moment, what was she doing? This is where I think that this other individual came in at. Because at 3:40 at the ATM, when she pulled out $280, she was by herself, and then she went by a nearby liquor store, spent $40 in alcohol. She was by herself. Then it was after that 3:40 p.m. to 4:37, ain't even a whole hour. Somewhere between the 4:37 and the 7:27 is when the second individual showed up. The theory is that her and this other individual, they went on down the road. They got a ride, and my hardcore theory is she's alive. She's with this individual. They could be in Canada, or they could be deeper into the United States. Well, it's been 18 years. I mean, they could be in another country now on the other side of the world. But my theory is that Maura Murray is still alive, and she needs to be found. And if she hears my voice today, please do the right thing and contact your family. We miss you. We miss your smiling face. We need to see you again. And whatever you've done, we'll work through it. Whatever's happened, it's okay. Things can be forgiven. And a message to, if someone knows where she's at or has seen her, please let us know where she's at. Her family needs closure. Her father needs closure. Her sister needs closure. Her whole family needs closure. I just truly feel that my theory is that she is still alive. She would be 40 years old now. So she definitely does not look the same as the pictures on this video that I'm posting. She's going to look a lot different, because a lot can change to a young lady from 21 to 40. And that's just how it is, you know. So my prayer is that that we find her. And it is a case that has haunted me. And now, as a doctor of divinity and a spiritual counselor, it is one of those cases that has crossed my desk many a times. And my prayer and my hope and prayer is that we find Maura Murray and where she is at. Thank you for listening. Keep the faith. A personal message from me to Maura. We're looking for you, girl. Come on, show back up. We need you in our life. Thank y'all for listening. Goodbye.